Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the hardest and easiest schedules that the NFL has released for the upcoming 2016 season. And well, the schedules were released about last week on Sunday, so maybe a couple weeks ago, a week ago. So, in my opinion, I'm going to be saying who has the hardest schedule, who has the easiest schedule, and where they will lie in the draft, and how many games they'll win and how many games they will lose. So, let's get right into it. The hardest schedule, I'm saying the San Francisco 49ers will have the hardest schedule. I mean, if you look at it already, bang, a lot of teams that made it to the playoffs, and a lot of teams are just really good in general. First, you're playing the Rams. That's already a loss because, well, Rams are really good. They're a really good team, and they have a good offense. They have a good defense. They just haven't been the best to show it, but just outclassed by better teams. Then you play the Carolina Panthers. What can I say more? They made it to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton's amazing. They have a really good defense. That's already another loss. Seattle Seahawks made it to the divisional, or well, not the divisional, the wild card, or was it divisional? No, yeah, the divisional round last year, and they're a good team as well. That's another loss. But even though they might not have Marshawn Lynch, they still have a really good running back. I believe it's Justin Forsett, but I believe he's with the Ravens. I'm 90% sure on who their backup running back is. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's Justin Forsett. But anyway, that's going to be a win for the Seahawks. Dallas Cowboys, I think the Cowboys aren't the best team, but I think they are just good enough to manage a win against the 49ers. So that's another loss. They play the They play Arizona Cardinals next, and well, that's another loss for them. The Cardinals made it to the NFC Championship. That's another loss automatically. And you play the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills, they're decent. They're a good team, but I think they're just better enough than the 49ers. You got Sammy Watkins at a wide receiver, so that's really good. Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, who is good enough. LaShawn McCoy, who is, I wouldn't say he's the best in Buffalo, and I still say he doesn't belong in Buffalo, but, well, can't change that. And they have a good enough defense. Then you play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to say, I think it's going to be their first win of the season. The Buccaneers are just not that good to beat the 49ers. It might be a close game, but I think the 49ers are just going to barely manage with a win, maybe in overtime. Then you have your bye week, going up on Halloween. Then, coming back in November, you play the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints didn't have the best season last year. But, you know what? Drew Brees, I think, is going to come around. He's got good wide receivers. He's got an okay running back. But I think, sorry to burp there, but the Saints are going to come around and beat the 49ers. Then you play at Carolina, or not at Carolina, at Arizona, and of course that's another loss. Then you play New England. You lose automatically. They made it to the AFC Championship. There's not much that the 49ers can do. Then you play the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, again, not the best team, but I think they're just better enough than the 49ers to where they can manage out a win. The Bears, again, same thing, didn't have the best season, but just can manage out a win. The Jets, they're also good, not the best, as I'm saying before. They're not the best, but at least they have Chris Ivory at running back, and I believe Brandon Marshall is still on the Jets, and I believe Ryan Fitzpatrick is still on the Jets, if I'm correct on that. And they still have a pretty good defense. Then you have the Atlanta Falcons, who beat the Carolina Panthers to make sure that the Panthers did not go undefeated. And they beat the Panthers. That's all I can say. That's another win. I was debating on whether to put the Falcons on here because they do play some pretty tough teams. They play both Super Bowl contenders of the Panthers and the Broncos. But I think they might actually beat the Broncos, I'll be honest, so not that hard. And then you play the Rams again, another loss, and then another loss for the Seahawks. So you can see that's only one win. Where they will be in the draft, I predict the 49ers will only go 1-15. They'll only win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They'll have the first overall pick in 2017 draft. Let's hope they make it to good use. Now, of course, this isn't certain, and the draft hasn't even happened yet, which I believe today is the 23rd, so it'll be on Thursday, I believe. That's when it starts. So, of course, this does depend on who the 49ers draft, but ultimately, in my opinion, they're just not going to go far. Now, the easiest schedule goes to the Green Bay Packers. Okay, you're already starting against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's an easy win. That's an easy win right there. Then you play the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings, I think, can just barely manage to beat the Green Bay Packers. I give the win to the Vikings. Then you play the Lions. If you saw before what happened last year with that Rainbow Miracle to Ryan Rodgers, I think his name was, and Aaron Rodgers threw that bomb, that's going to be another win for the Packers. Then you have your bye week. Then you play the Giants. I think most times out of 10, when the Packers did play the Giants in like the last 5 or 6 years, mostly every time the Giants the Packers have won, I think, except once, I think, when they played the Giants. And I believe it was the 2011 divisional or championship. It was either divisional or championship. Then you play the Cowboys. That's going to be an easy win there. Cowboys aren't the best team, but oh well. Then you play the Bears. That's going to be another win there. Then you play the Falcons. I don't know about that one. The Falcons, in my opinion, I think they can steal a win right there. I think they can just steal a win. Just barely being able to steal a win from those Packers. I'm going to give the Falcons a win right there. Then you play the Colts. The Colts haven't been the best this season. Last season either. They haven't been on a roll. They haven't just gotten the momentum. I'm going to give the win to the Packers. Then you play the Titans. The Titans, well, they had the first overall pick and then gave it to the Rams, which I don't get because the Rams had the 15th pick. Why do you go from 1st to 15th? Beats me. I don't know. Then you play the Redskins. How you like that? I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to like that much because I'm going to give the win to the Packers. Then you play the Eagles. That's going to be an easy win there. The Eagles have been doing nothing this last season. They are just bad. The Eagles have crashed. And then you play the Houston Texans. In my opinion, I think the Texans are going to be a really well-rounded team this year. And I could say the Texans going to the divisional round, even championship. So I'm going to give the win to the Texans. Then you play the Seahawks. I'm going to give the win to the Seahawks there. I know the Packers made it farther in the playoffs last year. Well, actually, no, they tied. Never mind. But the Seahawks, I think, are just better enough to beat the Packers. I don't know what I'm saying sometimes. I just woke up a little bit ago, so excuse me if I'm wrong on some stuff. But in my opinion, I just think that the Seahawks will win against the Packers. And then you play the Bears again. The Packers will come out with a win. Now, this time, I'm gonna give the win to the Packers when they play the Vikings on Christmas Eve. I think now they studied the Vikings enough. They're prepared against the Vikings. They can beat the Vikings. Then they play the Lions on New Year's Day, and then that's an easy win. So, for Packers, where they will be in the draft, I predict that the Green Bay Packers will go 12-4. Pretty winning season yet again. I think ever since Aaron Rodgers stepped in as starter in, I think, 2008, Packers have usually always had a winning season. Maybe one winning season, non-winning season. But every time they've either made it to the playoffs or the Super Bowl, and neither won it. So Aaron Rodgers, he's still in his prime. He might I know he's been playing for a while, but I just think he's still good because he didn't play at like the beginning of his career, but I think he's just still good enough to get the Packers there. Then they'll go to the divisional round, but eventually lose. Like last year, they'll lose. I know it sucks, but I just don't think they're going to make it to the championship. The Packers did have a good run, but they're just not going to make it. And then I'm going to give them the 26th overall pick. Maybe it might be 25th, it might be 26th. It either goes. I don't know how it determines whether it goes in terms of divisional rounds of where they line the playoffs ultimately. But in my opinion, I'm going to give the Packers the 26th overall pick. And right there, that is the hardest and easiest schedules for the NFL for this upcoming season. If you have any recommendations of who do you think a team had it easier, a team that had it harder, let me know. I'll look at them maybe again, thinking, so I looked through all the schedules, and I thought, well, San Francisco had it the hardest, and then I looked through seeing that Green Bay had it the easiest. But if you're saying, well, because I debated to myself that the Falcons may have it harder, I'll look through it again and see, maybe the Falcons did have it harder than the 49ers, or maybe someone did have it easier than the Packers. But that's just my opinion, and I'll see y'all next time. Keep watching football.